Hi and welcome, folks. Today I am talking to one of my, I oftentimes say long-standing friends because it feels like this is a long-standing friend, but I just met Diane probably about 2 years ago, we think, where Diane contacted me. We have a lot of mutual friends. She was interviewing me for part of her interview series, and we hit it off straight away. We could tell that we're completely on the same vibe. We're both absolute therapy nuts. And from there, we have evolved into this really great friendship where we've collaborated on a number of projects. I'm going to ask Diane about some recent events that she's been to, as well as what brought her to where she is now. And then we're going to look at what's coming up because there's some really exciting stuff in the pipeline. So, first of all, I'd like to welcome Diane. Welcome.
Woo! It's so cool to be on this side of it with you. Aubrey, I'm honored to be speaking to you today. So, thank you very much for the invite.
You're very welcome, Diane. It's great to have you on. And I always think sometimes it's more work being on your side when you're actually being interviewed because you're the one who's going to have to answer all the questions.
I mean, I'm
So,
excited. I'm excited.
first question then, to give people a little bit of context, can you just tell us a little bit about your background, where you got to where you are now, the different strands to your business? Because I know you got a lot of strings to your bow. Maybe just talk to us a little bit about that.
I think the most exciting part for me, Aubrey, is that I have not taken a paycheck from another business besides my own since 1996. And I think that really kind of sums up my life as a massage therapist, and that I'm just really thankful for that. And I'll just cut through to like modern day. I have a staff of 12 massage practitioners. We've won Best Massage 8 times in our local area. Right now, I'm not even needed anymore in my office because I have Eugenia managing and running daily operations over there, which was kind of a dream come true for me. And with that help and through the pandemic, I built a second business called the Massage Mentor Institute. Woo! So that's an online forum where you can get CEs from people that took me a few years to find. So I always like to say I've been on the ground, Aubrey. I've been on the ground training therapists and building my business. And then I looked up and I saw this, it's a whole new world, this whole big world happening online and all across the world. And I wanted to just get to know people because I find that most massage therapists, we come from a good place and we have good hearts. And I saw all these hardworking teachers and doing all this cool stuff. And like I said, it took me about 3 years. I started interviewing people about 3 years ago. So I wanted to put all those people kind of in one place so that people didn't have to take 3 years to find everybody.
That's a big deal because I think that happens to a lot of people that they graduate with their foundation training in bodywork, they start working for a while, and like that they put their head down, they are kind of inward focused or maybe kind of just looking at growing their business, building their client base, and it's only after a few years that you start to become aware of where the industry has gone, the different people who are shaping it in different directions. I mean, there's so many different leading lights. It's great to have them all brought together like that.
I mean, for me, it was a huge wake up. I don't know what happened or what well, I was busy working, really. And like I said, I'm very devoted to my staff. I was teaching them, and my head was just kind of down and focused. And I'm amazed at all the amazing things going on in our industry all across the world. And for me, it's really exciting to start dabbling in that and talking to people and doing these events and coming at it from a perspective too of someone who's been on the ground, who's built this business. It's very successful. I'm very pleased with it, to say the least. My manager, Eugenia, is amazing, and my staff is top notch. I wouldn't be nervous about someone coming in and getting a massage from any one person. I'm like, see whoever you want. They're all amazing.
That's a great place to get to, yeah.
It really is. It feels really good.
So the Massage Mentor has really been, I suppose, a project that I've been involved in. I've seen how hard you've worked on that. I think you've done incredible work on not only kind of bringing those educators together, but also providing CEs for a lot of their work as well, getting a lot of the stuff. I know for me, that was awesome because I'm not based in the US, as you can probably tell from the accent for our American viewers. So that was really, really valuable that people can not only watch some of the stuff that we've produced, but they can actually get CEs for it as well. So that was a really huge boon. And I love the fact that we can write quiz questions, that there's real kind of quality education to what you've done.
Well, I was so excited to have you and Allison join, and many of the other teachers that have joined, and many of the teachers that are coming. And for me, it's just been a thrill, like I said, because my business on the ground is doing great. So honestly, Aubrey, I started doing this for fun, and the fun turned into a whole business, which to me is like the most biggest gift I've ever been given. It's almost like it was waiting to be created. The community was waiting to be created, and I was just like, okay, here I am. And I wish it was more business like and there was a real big strategy behind it, but the strategy was me just having a good time and getting to know everybody.
Well, definitely, I think that community part, you can really see it because not only is there a Facebook group, do you want to give people some details about your Facebook group?
Sure. There's a lot of groups that are really big, and I don't know if they're all massage therapists. So my group is called the Massage Mentor, and it's called closed group. And it's a closed group because it's only people on there are massage therapists or teachers of massage. And the vibe is very positive. It's kept very positive. There's not a lot of bickering or arguing or who's right, who's wrong. I just try to keep it good and clean. And I do interviews on there. I just started a new series. It's called the Up and Coming series, where I have a lot of the MMTs from Eric Dalton, who I just thought were amazing. And so I'll be interviewing them. And I interviewed the top names. And, so the interviews I think are really cool because, Aubrey, that's one of the reasons I was drawn to you. You get to know people. And I think when you see the person behind the class, that's when you really decide if you want to take the class. I want to give people the opportunity to see these teachers and hear them from the inside out, um, so that they can make good decisions on who they want to study with. And my suggestion is to study with them all.
Well, it's funny. I really saw that, and I saw the kind of the community, but also that kind of like getting to see the person, as you said, behind the educational persona, if you like, because the recent event that we were involved in, the shoulder jam, I keep going to say the hip jam because that's the one that's on my head. We'll talk about that. We'll come to that. But with the shoulder jam, the idea of having everybody on at the end and chatting very much, without any great script. We oftentimes would deal with a question or two that had come up over the course of the day, or maybe yourself or Alison would have a question, that it was a great chance to just chat. And like you said, all very positive, all in good nature, even where people have different perspectives that go, I see your point of view. This is the way I see it. And it was very much I always think about it like at some of the big seminars where you have multiple teachers and we get to chat. It's oftentimes just the teachers. It's this kind of closed little thing. And we're chatting about the stuff that we love, the stuff that we're passionate about. But it's great to give the audience, the people who have attended, who have listened to the lectures, that peek behind the curtain of what's it like when these people get together and they're chatting, very unguarded, very social. I thought it was a really, really nice way of bringing people into that space. I thought it was really, really nice, worked really well. But you mentioned about the MMTs in Oklahoma, so that's really the next thing I want to ask you about. You
Sure.
were in Oklahoma at Eric
Oh
Dalton's
my God,
annual
I'm so
workshop. I missed it. I wasn't able to travel. There's still travel restrictions. I thought I was going to be able to go at the last minute, just wasn't allowed to travel. You did get to go. You talked to a lot of people. I'd love to hear what your impression was of that event. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Well, the first impression that I want to get across is that you were there, because everywhere I looked, your picture was everywhere. People were carrying around a picture of you, taking pictures with you. You were inside, you were outside. Everywhere I went, I saw your picture, which to me, again, just kind of tells you what Eric Dalton has created all these years. A real family feel. There's history there. As I was going around with my mini mic and doing interviews with a lot of people had been going for 7 years, 8 years, and the people who were there for the first time were already planning their next trip. So I felt like the event was, again, you have an idea in your head and it went past my idea, and it was really magical.
That's the hard thing to get across to people, that you can talk about it, you can explain it, you can say how good it was, but you find that with a lot of those events, the really, really good ones, that you have to be there to really get a sense of what it's like. That everything else is just a theory for you. When you actually go, You feel that love in the room. You feel the excitement. You feel the passion from people. You feel that community. I think it's amazing because you get people who are there for their first time and they're sometimes a little bit overwhelmed, but they love it. They get drawn in. But then, like you said, it's the people returning year in, year out. We just love those guys. They are the community.
And I just have to say, hands down, I mean, Eric Dalton, what an amazing human being.
Yeah.
Just so welcoming, and then also just the event. It's and I don't even know if it's like an event. It's like a concert or something. It's beyond that, and but yet the one thing that I thought too that he does just such a great job of is that it's also intimate. Because as I looked around the room, I didn't see anyone kind of like unattended or anyone feeling lost in the crowd. It was a big crowd, but I felt like it was very personal. Each person got the attention they needed, and if Eric didn't see people walking around, he's like, "Hey, get around," you know. So I just really felt like that was cool. And it was cool to get an up close and personal look at Eric too, because he walks around with everybody. He's not like this untouchable being, you know? And so a lot of your ideas too, if you haven't gotten a chance to take a class with Eric or meet all these teachers, the idea that you have about them uh, could be a little skewed. They're people and they're
Absolutely.
awesome freaking people. So Eric was just fantastic.
I generally find, I don't know if you notice this, but it's like on the first day when everybody's coming in, it just seems like so many people. And by nearly lunchtime on the first day, you've got around so many people, you get to meet so many people. It's almost like the group shrinks as they start to knit and come together. They seem like this small, intimate group, not this huge group. So
And
how he masters that with such a big crowd, I think it's partly down to the TAs. Those guys are amazing. I know I've been one walking that room, making sure that everybody is getting the help they need. But I think a lot of it is down to Eric and just the atmosphere he creates. I think it's phenomenal.
And I think too it has to do with the history with Eric, meaning like Barb, the graphics designer, 15 years.
Yeah,
Kim Miller, she's been with Eric for a really long time. So you have this really solid foundation that he can build off of. Plus, he's a very solid foundation. So he has this team of people around him, and they have it down. And it's funny because as someone who's just getting into events and doing these things, you think it's going to be like, oh, no problem. But there is like, I mean, he's a mastermind at these events at this point, and his team is amazing. And the TAs, oh my gosh, I loved the TAs. They were all so helpful and so warm, and like I said, so welcoming. I felt immediately a part of the family, and I personally can't wait to go back.
you can see why I'm so passionate. Like I haven't missed a year since my first year. Literally, this was the first time I've missed one. Both Costa Rica and Oklahoma, they're experiences. You got to be
Mhm.
there. You got to see what it's like firsthand. Was there anything? I found this tricky because I've been asked this a few times before. You know, what were my favorite kind of techniques or takeaways? Is there anything in particular that you thought, wow, I can't wait to use that? Whether it was something in like the running the setup, because like you said about doing eventing yourself, you're going to have a different perspective, or the techniques, or anything in particular that really wowed you apart from the overall experience.
I think a little bit of all. I think everything. I was amazed by how many techniques were taught,
Yeah.
and that it didn't feel overwhelming, you know. But he literally was like, "Here I am." There was no holding back. So for me, I was amazed by so many of the techniques. And then, you know, I like to just how you'll be put in a position and just the subtle movements that go with the techniques. And they're just so thoughtful and well thought out. And how he presents them after all these years, it's just so natural.
Yeah.
That it's really cool to learn from someone that's been doing it for that long and is still passionate. And there's a whole other piece. You know, it's not easy to show a technique, explain a technique, and have the student receive it. You know, it's just an art form. And like I said, I thought every piece of the event was really top notch.
And speaking of events and top notch events, the reception we got from the shoulder jam.
That
It
was
was
so
just
cool.
incredible. The feedback was amazing. I'm going by stuff that, where people contacted me afterwards, stuff I've seen online, particularly in the specific closed groups. I'm sure you got much, much more of that as well.
Oh my God. When I started this whole thing, and I started thinking of the idea, told a couple people the idea, and they're like, oh, that's so cool. I was like, maybe we'll get 100 people. But we got 550 plus people, close to 600 people, which to me was amazing. But people were hungry for this kind of event, and it really did go beyond my wildest dreams as far as participants. And the way this event is set up, where you have 10 people that I found that I love and admire, focusing on one body part. I mean, that for me again was one of those dream come trues. One of my therapist said to me, Diane, I want to learn more about the shoulder. And I'm like, you want to learn more about the shoulder? We're going to learn more about the shoulder. And that's really, it just kind of all happened. So I was really pleased to have all of you join in. And the teachers were incredible. Everyone's
Yeah.
presentations were awesome.
And what I loved about it as well is I think part of it is that kind of unique aspect of focusing on a region. So you get to get a lot of different perspectives. So people would take all different things from each teacher. Like there was nothing that was repetitive. Each person was coming at things from quite a different perspective. But I also really liked the rhythm of it because it wasn't like you were trying to get like 10 people in one day. The fact that you had like 2, 3 presenters a day, people had time to view something, digest it. There was that discussion at the end, and then you have the next day. And it's really kind of manageable pieces of information. I don't think anybody would have felt that flood. And then the fact that, like, with a lot of these online events, people have the added bonus of they have access to recordings. So I presume that's going to be the same going forward as
Yes.
well.
One of the things for me is if you buy it, you have it for a lifetime. Yeah. So I mean, we're gonna hopefully do each body region. We were even joking about we got to do the toe, we got to do this, we got to do everything. Everyone's so excited about kind of making it through the body. But yeah, when you purchase a jam event, you get a lifetime viewing.
Well, it means as well that if people particularly connect with one approach, they can practice that, they can perfect it. They're not trying to remember everything. And they can come back maybe a couple of months later and go, oh, there was another technique that somebody else did. Let's take a look at that. So it can be a really kind of an organic development in their own
So right.
incorporating of those techniques and information into what they do in
Learning
practice.
takes time. Learning
Yes.
takes time. And so I felt like, it takes time to kind of even wrap your head around one teacher. So I wanted to make sure that everybody had plenty of time.
So the next event coming up is the hip jam. We're going to be focusing on the hip. Really excited about that. I think
Yeah.
all of the teachers kind of were going, hip sounds great. Hip's a good area to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's coming up in October.
October 4th through the 8th. It'll be the same setup. Like I said, I have trouble focusing for long periods of time, so that's part of it. That's why I set it up the way I did, because I'm kind of selfish like that. I'm like, there's no way I'm sitting on the computer from like 8 in the morning till 5 at night. I want to
But it
no.
works really well. It's perfect.
So we have just like the small short slots, and like I said, I think it'll be a lot of fun. Set up the same. It's already online. You can sign up for it. There are a couple people that might be joining us too that I'm not ready to let you know about quite
Ooh,
yet, but we'll have to wait and see.
more in the pipeline. Excellent. Good. Glad to hear it.
We'll keep it small. We'll still keep it small. We don't want to go up much above, like, say, 15 teachers, if that, because the feedback that we got great feedback, great reviews. And that was one of the things, was it's a very intimate event.
Definitely. That, like I said, I think for me, the chats afterwards, I know we keep going on about it, but to me, that is pretty unique. I've done a lot of other events like that, and you tend to do your piece and then that's it, you're done. You might, if it's something that you're particularly involved in, you might watch other presenters, but you don't really get to interact so much. So I thought that part was really, really amazing. I'm looking forward to it again in the hip jam. I'm probably going to join every day again, like I did last time, because I'm just such a nerd. I love it.
I love it.
I think a lot of the audience were the same as well. They're watching the
Yep.
presentations and then they're staying for that informal, because you don't know what we're going to be talking about. We don't know what we're going to be talking about.
I really did start my business, Freedom Massage, because I got lonely as a sole practitioner. I felt like I reached my peak of learning on my own with my clients. I kind of got kind of lonely. So I created a business. That's really why I did it. Now, as someone who's kind of, behind the scenes with these events, I find too teachers like that togetherness too. Everyone's alone, kind of doing their own thing everywhere. And then when you guys get together, it's just so beautiful to watch.
Yeah.
And the respect that you have. And then the way you interact with each other is going to be a little different than you interact with your students. So students get to see a bigger picture of what each teacher's like.
Looking forward to it so much. We'll definitely put links in descriptors above or below, depending on what platform you're viewing this on. So we'll put links on it. You can go and check it out. Check out that schedule. Go ahead and book, because it's going to be a phenomenal event. Nice thing about it as well is because it's a virtual event, we're not worried about any changes in restrictions. It's definite, you know, that you can go ahead and book in.
Best seat in the house. You get the best seat in the house. You'll get awesome views of the techniques. You don't have to like keep moving around the table to see. You're going to have the best view in the house. And we've had a lot of feedback too, Aubrey, that people really enjoyed your accent.
My
so
accent?
you'll get
I don't have an accent. What are you talking about?
People are like, oh, Aubrey. So, you know, you'll get to listen to Aubrey's beautiful accent, which we all love and enjoy.
I'll put on my extra strong, thick Irish accent then just for the next presentation. Or maybe one of the evenings or something when we're doing our final little rock out at the end of the day.
I would love that.
Dan, I got to say, really appreciated you coming on and chatting to us. I really wanted to find out what you thought of Oklahoma. Is there anything else that we've missed out on? Anything upcoming that you want to chat about?
No, just we have the Hip Jam coming up. I'm really excited about that. October again, 4th through the 8th. And 2, just, you know, check out the Massage Mentor Institute. There's awesome classes on there by incredible teachers. You can also sign up for mentoring. There's all kinds of things that are going to be happening in the Massage Mentor Institute. So the sooner you get in there, log in, join up, sign up, the more you'll be kept posted on what's happening.
Yeah. Actually, one thing that we've been talking about that we're not probably yet ready to announce is maybe looking at doing kind of like a live class, maybe every second month or something like that. I'm working on it in the background. I've talked to Diane, so maybe we'll have news about that shortly as well. But like that, if you're in the Facebook group or if you're going onto the Massage Mentor website, you'll see news of stuff like that, anything upcoming. So remember to check back in with those things regularly. This is an evolving project. Diane is driving in so many different directions with this. She's got so many exciting things coming up. I think it's going to be really important to stay current, keep checking in and see what's going on, because there's going to be lots and lots of great stuff coming up.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Because when you log into the Institute, there is a section that will have the latest news you can click on, and sometimes teachers will post things, and we're going to try to post things that are happening in the Institute.
Very good.
Look at that.
Because I'm just thinking, I recently wrote an article for one of the Australian associations, so we may be
look at
sharing some of that stuff, because it's great. I think it's really nice to share some free resources. I like the idea of people being able to access stuff that not everything's about money. It is oftentimes just about learning. It's about sharing information, experience, and knowledge to benefit ultimately our clients. So yeah, we'll definitely look at stuff like that. So stay tuned. Well, Dan,
Aubrey, I just want to say that I think you're wonderful, and thank you so much for talking with me. It's so nice to be interviewed by you.
Diane, it continues to amaze me how hard you work, how many projects you're driving forward. We really appreciate all the work you've done. I'm sure everybody involved in the Hip Jam, the upcoming Shoulder Jam, everybody involved in the Massage Mentor. We didn't mention the Massage Rebel as well. Your partner in crime. Big thank you to Alison as well. Alison Denny's done great work. The Massage Rebel has done huge work involved in these projects as well. So a big thank you to her. These are amazing events, guys. Really, really unique in my experience. I would highly recommend you check them out. So with that, I'd like to say thanks very much, Diane. Really appreciate you joining us. And looking forward to catching up again soon. And stay tuned for all those interesting projects.
Yes.